You're listening to Binjam 91.5, and it's time for Tech Talk with Matthew Dickinson, and it's Tony Graham here. Good afternoon, Matthew.
Just because I haven't been in the studio, Tony, you're forgetting my name already.
Well, you can't blame me.
I have threatened to send you a photo down. I might have to do that, Tony.
Yeah, it might be a good idea. No, I'm getting a bit old. I just need a bit of a prompt sometimes. Now, Formula E launches a virtual racing season, joining NASCAR, F1 and IndyCar. That must be exciting for you.
Well, I'm a big fan of Formula E, and I've attended Formula One races and V8 supercar races over the years. And I haven't actually attended a Formula E race, but I've watched them on TV, and I love the sound of Formula E. And I drive an electric car myself, so I'm used to that idea of not this big exploding engine making all the noise, but the whirring sound of Formula E I love. And the drivers love it because the acceleration of the cars, they get a real thrill out of that. Now, as everything else across the world has just about come to a standstill, the Formula E season has been put on hold as well. And they've just launched a sim racing competition. And I'm actually a bit surprised about this because Formula E is very progressive. They've basically had things out before other different competitions around the world, but they've taken almost too long to get their sim racing. F1 and V8 supercars and other organisations have had their e-racing or their sim racing going already. So I'm surprised they've taken so long, but they've come up with a 9-week season. This is their 6th season of Formula E, believe it or not, but they've come up with a 9-week sim racing competition. They're using iRacing as the actual platform, and that's a fairly, well, probably the leading sim racing platform actually out there at the moment. Every Saturday they'll be broadcasting them on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and Facebook, as well as their own broadcast partners. And again, they're doing something a bit different. So rather than just basically doing exactly what they do with Formula E, they'll do a concept where they'll be racing, and after a certain number of laps, whoever's in last place basically gets excluded until they get down to the last 10, and then they'll race from there. So again, just something a bit different to mix it up a little bit, but I'm looking forward to sim racing in Formula E and see how that compares to all the sim racing in all the various other competitions out there.
Wish I had the time for that, Matthew. Now, coronavirus means video conference weddings are now okay in New York, so we can get married anywhere, can we?
Well, no, not anywhere, but you can get married in New York. An executive order on Saturday was put through to allow virtual marriage ceremonies. And so there's lots of things now we're doing online. We've got people doing dinner parties. We've got school happening, obviously, concerts. We've got cabinet meetings happening online. And now actually being able to get married. Now, it was illegal to do that before, and you need to have people there in person sign the documentation to say that, yes, you're now legally married. But now the state of New York allows you to do your marriage ceremony via video conference. Now, I don't know how that works for you and I, Tony. If people want to get married in Australia, in New York, I'm not sure if that's allowed, whether you've got to be a resident of New York. But again, it just shows how quickly governments can make changes when they are forced to, and how much we can actually adapt to the world that's changing around us. So I think if we're looking for positives out of coronavirus, and you're always trying to see what is positive, we will know going forward when a government says we can't do that, it will take too long, we can always point back to COVID-19 and say, you could make things happen quickly in COVID-19, let's see if you can do it now.
Yeah. Well, I suppose they can do video witnesses the same way too, can't they?
That's exactly the idea. Again, I don't know how the actual signatures work when you've actually got to sign the marriage certificate, but they've obviously come up with a way to get around that, and they've done it quickly, which is, I love the idea that things can change so quickly when they need to.
Well, they certainly have changed very quickly, and it's brought new challenges because there's been hacking going on against corporations as the workers take their computers home. So that's a big problem, isn't it?
It is a major drama, and obviously when you're sitting inside your workplace, your physical workplace, you've got an IT department that's being able to set up some firewalls and make sure that you've got a virus-free environment and really work in a way that you can just concentrate on your work and not worry about someone attacking your data. When people pick up their computers and take them home, obviously that changes the complete ballgame. The security at home obviously isn't going to be as good as the security at work. People are creating VPNs so that they're getting a secure connection through from their home to their work, but unfortunately, if your home network isn't that secure, then that actually may allow someone to get into that VPN and get an easier way to get into your actual workplace. So essentially, one of the companies out there that's responsible for trying to prevent this sort of thing happening said that it monitored attacks, ransomware attacks, and they jumped by 148% in March. So again, the coronavirus hadn't really, all the working from home and working remotely hadn't really taken effect. So I think that in April we'll see an even bigger jump than that. But it is something to be aware of. I would still encourage people to work from home. I think technology is a way to solve some of the problems around the coronavirus. But again, you just have to be aware of those problems and make sure that you're trying to take some steps to prevent them.
So the message is that virtual private networks aren't necessarily the total answer to security. You have to be still careful with those two.
Some people think they've got a VPN, then everything's safe. It's almost a false defense. Yes, a VPN well constructed will make your network safer and access to your network safer, but just be aware that it isn't one thing that covers every particular or every potential problem out there.
Now, the next topic, Matthew, is something I find interesting, and I reckon it's a good idea, and that's Amazon. They're using thermal cameras at some of their warehouses to scan workers for fevers. It's probably a good idea, not just for the coronavirus, but just generally speaking.
Yeah, and one of the things that's interesting here is that fever is certainly an early symptom that might show that someone has the coronavirus. And so people are testing for temperature, but it's fairly time consuming to go through and check someone's temperature as they're coming into work or into shop or whatever it might be. Now, Amazon is one of those organisations that we want to keep working at there. People are buying more products online, buying more books, reading more books online. So we want Amazon to be working there, but some workers aren't overly happy about going to work and basically exposing themselves. They've got 50 warehouses across the US, and supposedly at this stage they've had more than 300 of their employees that have actually been impacted by the coronavirus. So the idea of this is that they've got thermal cameras now. As you walk into work at your warehouse, a thermal camera would actually look at you as you come in, and if it's showing that your temperature, your forehead temperature in particular, is too high, then you'll be taken off to the side and have a little bit more testing done, whether that be some more temperature testing or then finally some actual testing for the coronavirus itself. There'll be some extra testing done to make sure that they can try and keep their workplace as corona-free as is possible.
That's a really good idea. I like it.
Yeah.
You're listening to Matthew Dickinson on Tech Talk on Binge 91.5. Stay tuned next week for another session. In the meantime, it's back to our normal program.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Matthew.